pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Look like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the fam, man. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We up in this thing, going at you late, family. Much love to the fam. Shout out to the Pels, man. The Pels got a win tonight. They dethroned the Kings, man. Shout out to my Pelicans, man. They advanced from the quarterfinal to the quarterfinal round to the semifinal round. They played either the winner of the Suns and Lakers matchup tomorrow. Thursday, they'll play the semifinals round for whoever wins tomorrow. And it'll be in Las Vegas. It's going down. So the Pelicans on their way to try to see if they can get that first NBA Cup trophy they created for the in-season situation, which would be big for a team like the Pelicans. So shout out to them. I was on the Pelican post-game report a few minutes ago. So shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all staying up late with me on this episode as we recap some stuff, man. We're going to go over several news items. We're going to react to what Dennis Allen said today in the press conference. And we're going to head out. So I'm going to try not to keep you guys late tonight. So let's jump right into it, right? Shout out to all of the fam. Brian, KK, good to see you. Brother Josh, G-Fly, Backwoods, Slim, Christopher, Barbara, everybody. Big Boy, good to see you, fam. Young City. Abraham, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you, brother. Eric, much love. Be safe on the road, fam. Much love. Appreciate all of you guys. Please hit the like button. Please feel free to share the show on your social media feed. What's up, Stacy? Shout out to you as well. Yeah, it's time for the JW to put up a shut up, pulling up for you, bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Stacy. Much love for you as well. All right, so fam, let's jump into some of this stuff, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. Like we said, it's I don't want to get too much in the recap, man. It's just not a good look yesterday. The Pelicans. I'm thinking I got Pale on the brain. The Saints couldn't. I wish the Saints would handle their business like the Pelicans did tonight. But the Saints yesterday, and we knew they were not going to win the matchup, but they did make it competitive. The issue is they did not win the game. They're now on the 3-game losing streak, and a lot of people are really upset about it. And a lot of the family members are finally catching in and doing this. So I'm going to share this picture right here. And this is something that came by way of Barstool. They shared this picture about family members that's down in the dome that were passing out Fire Dennis Allen shirts. Now we do have Fire DA shirts at the merch shop, at the Pale Shop. Link in the description section below. You know, of course, we can't put the man picture on it or whatever like these people did. That's why they passed it out. They can't actually sell it because it's images on there. But you get the message. And Fire Dennis Allen. And this is more pressure on the team. It was also, I think I was trying to see if I can find that for you guys. It was something that Jeff Duncan shared. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys probably seen that. It was something Jeff Duncan shared. He showed a picture of the lower bowl section of the game. And pretty much what it was a pit. Let me see if I can find that picture for you guys before we get going. But he showed the lower bowl section of the Saints match. Here it is right here. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm going to kind of put this on screen for you guys because as you can This is more proof positive right here that we're having an effect. This is a picture from the press box down to the lower bowl section of the Superdome. And you can see right there behind the bench, the players' bench, you can see a sea of blue, which is where usually you see a sea of black and gold. And what happened was a lot of the black and gold people sold their tickets to the Detroit Lions. That's why they were it was more of a Lion presence in there. A lot of the Saints people are selling their tickets. They having to see that's what happened, and it shouldn't have to come down to this to happen. And that's how you know you got bad leadership that's not listening to the people. The people can't be this wrong, and Mickey Loomis can't be this right. Something's wrong here. And the next thing, see, you should have listened when we told you. Now you're going to see your money go down. Now you're going to see even more of this because the family members and the supporters are all getting on code. So as you can see, this is a picture. I just wanted to share this with you, family, to see that you have an impact. The lower bowl of the Superdome is dominated by Lion fans. Saints family members clearly expressing a dissatisfaction with the team by selling their tickets on the secondary market speaks volumes. So there you go. That's from Jeff Duncan. I got to give him a shout out because he's been doing a stellar job. And sometimes I usually lambaste Jeff Duncan because sometimes he says some stuff that's off kilter. But Jeff Duncan has been on code with everybody else. A lot of the media personalities that we love so much have been on code with the mighty Who Dat Nation. And they are speaking and reporting the frustrations of the family members about this, and everybody's on code. And usually when that happens, the team cannot stop us. So there's, once again, there you see fire Dennis Allen jerseys by the Saints family members. We on code, we coming. And we're gonna have this. We're gonna get Dennis Allen out of here one way or the other, and Mickey Loomis along with him, and Mike and Pete Carmichael along with him. We got to find somebody that knows what they're doing, and it's time for a change. And since they too stupid to do it, then we're gonna have to show you what time it is. I'm sorry to have to do this to you, but then again, this is what you deserve for not listening to the people. You're supposed to listen to the supporters. Now, I'm saying, you or at least make some moves. And see, all this could be avoided if changes would have been made during the season because we were patient. So, I said to Jameis Winston and others who keep asking family members for support, but are not giving anything to anyone. They're not giving a damn thing to anybody. They're not winning. You keep asking for stuff. And I say this, because this is how I look at the game. I say no more support for you until you represent us the right way. You can't be mad about that. That's called being on code. That means living a perfect life of balancement. That means giving you what you giving me. I'm not giving you gold if you giving me copper, or if you giving me less than that. I'm giving you value for value. I'm giving you even exchange. That's what this is. That's universal principle. You can't get more than what you putting in, man. It don't work like that. So for them to keep asking, even though your tax dollars pays for that building, because they don't pay rent on them buildings, just to let you know, they don't pay the utilities on those buildings. You do. They don't give you no real breaks on merchandise. All the stuff is double. Some of it's triple overcharged. Most of the stuff is made for pennies on the dollars. We don't get any deals on none of that stuff. The concessions are some of the highest in some of the highest in the NFL. The merchandise is high, the parking is high, everything is high. But yet you asking for more support, and we paying you millions of dollars. The Saints team collect the money from the family members to pay the players. So you making millions of dollars off of our dollar, and all we ask in return is respect and a good product on the field. That is not too much to ask for if you're in that trade, but you cannot ask for more than what you've been given, and you're not even representing correctly. And then what really set me off is when they ask for your support, but don't want to listen to what you got to say. Oh, you gonna listen. You're not gonna take this money and not listen. You're not gonna take this and do what you want to do. You're gonna do the right thing. And everybody in the Who Dat Nation that got two brain cells to rub together understand and know when they see a bad product on the field, and we not playing it, man. So shout out to the family members. I just wanted to show y'all this, man. This shirt about Fire DA, which is the perfect segue to open up with this article from Pro Football Network. NFL coaches on the hot seat. Is it playoffs or bust for the Saints? Dennis Allen. Which coaches, NFL coaches, on the hot seat after week 13? If the Saints don't make the playoffs this season, Dennis Allen could receive his walking papers. And listen, they got 5 games remaining. He got 5 games remaining. If they're lucky, I see 2 wins, and that you can pick a win. I don't any. And then they are really in the catbird. See, they're in the chasing. See, they're chasing Atlanta now. They had an opportunity to take in possession of the NFC South. It was there in their hands, and they gave it away. And now you got a Panther team. They'll probably beat the Panthers because the Panthers are not really that good. But then they have the Giants, and then of course you got the Rams, you got the Bucks, and then the Falcons again, and you got somebody else in there. But outside of that, it's not looking very good. So let me get into this article, fam. Let me kind of superimpose it a little bit more so we can get a better look at it. There we go. All right, coaches on the NFL hot seat after week 13. If the Saints don't make the playoffs this season, Dennis Allen could receive his walking papers. He's going to get them papers sooner than that, partner. All right, Mr. Robinson on the report. The Saints have entered the 23 NFL campaign as the betting favorites to win NFC South, but they're just 5-7 after losing to the Lions in week 13. Dennis Allen's club hasn't come close to meeting expectations this year. If the Saints miss the playoffs, Allen will undoubtedly be on the hot seat over the offseason. If they keep losing games, there's a chance he could be fired before the season concludes. This is true. Let me tell you something. He loses to the Carolina Panthers this week, he will be fired because the Panthers is the worst team in the NFL. They have 1 victory. If the Panthers beat the Saints, he will be fired right after. I promise you, he will be fired. There is no way that he will be able to escape out of here. There is not, and that would be let him lose, and they'll probably do everything they can to win that game against Carolina. But let the Saints lose to Carolina, he'll be fired. I promise you that he won't make it beyond that, because that would be all that they needed. The Who Dat Nation and everybody, you couldn't protect them after that. There was no justification, especially with what happened with Wright, who was running the Carolina Panthers team. They fired him within 11 weeks, and that set the material right there. It's like, okay, they got him up out of here. Saints Dennis Allen among NFL coaches on the hot seat after week 13. Replacing a franchise icon like Peyton was never going to be easy, but Allen hasn't done much to earn job security. He seemed to be promoted by default, more like good old boy, and the Saints stumbled through the 7-10 campaign in 2022, Allen's first year in charge. Things were looking up heading into 2023, the same year, same way it was in 22. The Saints had won 3 of their final 4 games to close the previous season, and free agent addition of Carr profile as an improvement under center. New Orleans has had a clear path for the division title in the NFC South without an elite team, but the Saints have lost 3 consecutive games, including a critical Week 12 defeat to the Falcons that allow Arthur Smith's team to grab first place. New Orleans no longer controls its own playoff destiny. And then, by the way, they're 1-2 in the NFC South. I don't think there's anything eroding the team's confidence right now. Allen said after the team's lost to the Lions on Sunday, we're going to keep chopping wood. That's the only thing you can do in this league. Nothing eroding their confidence right now. That just shows you how really lost in the matrix this man is. There's nothing eroding now. Why are you losing games? 3 games losing streak means something's wrong, man. Something's wrong. And then the shooting, they shoot themselves in the foot in these games and create turnovers to help the other team win. They'll have dumb penalties. They'll do something like most undisciplined teams, and they'll have low IQ breakdowns at certain moments. That's really crazy to me. So we're going to keep it going, but the Saints now have just a 28.5% chance of making the playoffs, according to ESPN's FPI. Their shot at the wild card berth has all but evaporated, so they'll need to catch Atlanta in the NFC South. Now, they do have Atlanta with the last game of the season, but if Atlanta beat the Jets, they're 6-6. The Saints, they probably would beat Carolina. We'll see. And we have to hope that Atlanta stumbles for the Saints to catch them. Upcoming games against Carolina and the Giants should help. The New Orleans is dealing with now injuries are here. Carr, who's been banged up at various points already this season, suffered a concussion and a rib injury on Sunday. Starters like wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, Pete Werner, and Marcus May were out, while Lattimore is on the IR. Carr was struggling even before going down in this week, ranking 22nd in the QBR. New Orleans gave the former Raiders starter a 4-year, $150 million deal this offseason, but he's posted worse numbers than the 2022 Saints' Andy Dalton. Carr's contract structure ensures he'll be with New Orleans through 2024. Meanwhile, the Saints' defense, Allen's specialty, is no longer an elite unit. Injuries have played an issue, but New Orleans ranks 23rd in EPA per play since week 6. Slippage. This is what Mickey Loomis said. I believe with all of my heart, I believe in all of my heart, we've got the right people in the building. I know we do. There are too many things that are too many good signs. Is it still good signs going on, Loomis? Is it still stuff going on? New Orleans has won 5 games in 2023, and 4 of those victories came against the Titans, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Bears, all of whom ranked bottom 7 NFL teams in Miller's Week 14 power rankings. The Saints front office, which has continuously stretched its salary cap to the hilt and traded away future draft capital, should consider much blame for the club's lack of success. But Loomis, who's been with New Orleans since nearly a quarter century, isn't getting fired anytime soon. Want to bet? Allen will likely last through the end of the season unless the Saints suffer an embarrassing loss to the Panthers or the Giants, but he's undoubtedly be on the hot seat on Black Monday. Listen, the Saints are not eliminated from the playoffs, but mentality-wise, this team is not where you need it to be, and they need to change it around quick. Perhaps the Carolina and Giant games could help. They'll undoubtedly beat Carolina. Maybe they beat the Giants. We don't know. But at the end of the day, they need to win the majority of these games to stay relevant. Do anybody see, with 5 games remaining, the Saints winning 4 of 5 games, or winning 5 games in a row, or even winning 3 games out of the 5 while hoping that the Atlanta Falcons stumble and fall? It's so much, man. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid all at the same time to see how ridiculous this all is. And it's going to continue to get worse. And speaking of getting worse, did anybody see this little giblet that came across the wire here? Shout out to the wire. It says Dennis Allen says Michael Thomas tweets will be handled in-house. What tweets were they? Well, let's get into the article right here. Shout out to Sigler. Thomas may not be on the New Orleans Saints in 2024, but it feels unlikely that Dennis Allen and Derek Carr are on the team. The wide receiver was frustrated, as many Saints family members, during the beginning of the Saints game with the Lions. How do we know? Thomas sent out a series of tweets that seemed to be shot directly at Carr, starting with the quarterback's interception on a deflected pass that could have been thrown to a wide open wide receiver on the other side of the field. It is not the first time Thomas has went at Carr on social media. Allen was asked about these tweets, and we're going to play that. This Monday presser stated he was only aware of them after the game and it would be handled privately. Thomas' account was deleted later Sunday afternoon. We'll keep that in-house, Allen said. This is a matter that is better handled behind closed doors. Thomas is clearly upset with the direction of the team, and he's never been shy about showing his emotions. It would be one thing for a family member or even a media member to tweet criticism during a game, but it's uncommon to see a player do this. When it happened, it doesn't seem to end well for both parties involved. It's a shame that it's come to this when Thomas helped recruit Carr to New Orleans in the damn first place. I ain't a damn in there myself. So yes, Michael Thomas tweeted. Michael Thomas tweets about it. The interception throw to Juwan Johnson that went off the tip of his fingers. He was talking about a wide receiver that, and see, that's one of many things. And we've been saying that we put one in the chat if I've been yelling this and saying this. We do the Patreon show tomorrow. We'll do the film study on the Patreon show tomorrow. And I'm going to show the family members some of the defensive stuff that happened with the Saints. And we're going to look at the quarterback play. and what's going on at the field. You cannot get away from the film. The film shows all the discrepancies. They show everything, and hey, look at all the ones. It is ridiculous, utterly ridiculous that, and Mike Thomas says what he says, and Dennis Allen says it's going to be handled in-house. But really, Michael Thomas should not be chastised, or he shouldn't have to delete his account for talking the truth. Oh, well, you can't criticize a teammate. Like hell you can't. Well, you got to do it in-house. Oh yeah, did he do the same thing for Olave when he was pointing and saying he was running the wrong routes, and Dennis Allen came out and protected Carr when Olave, about what happened with Olave? I mean, did you see that? How about with the time with Rashid Shaheed when that happened? Did he handle that in-house? Only when it comes down to pathetic, sad garbage is then we got to handle that in-house. We got to protect him. There's no more of this protection thing. You can't get away from Carr not looking over the entire field. We said this over. It's a major issue. The wide receivers are seeing it. Everybody sees it, not just the wide receivers. Everybody that has eyes could see that Derek Carr is half-assing the quarterback position. He's looking at half the field, and receivers are streaking wide open on the other side of the film. Outside the field. He never looks over there. He either looks from the left to center, and then either from the center to right. He never, and I ain't gonna say never, but the majority of his times back there is always a half-ass look. It always is. He all and it's in a very slight minority that he'll actually take a responsible progression through the field and find a target. When he does that, he makes a completion, a good throw, and you like, damn, he made the completion. Well, that's because he actually cycled through his progression, seen the open man, and fired it. He's so fundamentally flawed. And like I said, he did this type of stuff in Raiderland, but here is like it's a whole nother. His game is deteriorating. It really is. His game is deteriorating before us, and like I told you before, it's psychological. Like everything is. The mind is the start of all the processes. The body follows the mind, and his game is predicated on confidence. What you mean, Q? He's a gunslinger, meaning that he has a cannon arm, and he usually tries to fit the ball in tight windows by forcing it in there. He thinks he can bullet the ball in a tight window to avoid an interception, or to throw into two double or even triple coverage. He thinks his arm is strong enough to get him in there. And sometimes prior to him getting hurt, he would zip the ball in between coverages and make it work. But since he's been hurt here with that shoulder, and I keep telling people that, only thing you have to do is go look up the film from when he was with the Raiders and look at what he's doing today. You can see that he don't have the same zip on the ball because his shoulder toe up. He can't zip the ball. He's full of pain. They're shooting him up with painkiller. So he don't have the same accuracy, and he don't have the same zip on the ball that he did when he was with the Raiders. The tape proves it off. I already did the damn research. You do the rest. That's why he can't get away with what he's been doing, and that's why he's been looking like that. So when he doesn't play, when he doesn't have the confidence, because he don't know enough of the playbook to carry the team. I've been saying that. So when he doesn't play with the confidence that he needs to play with, then it all falls out. So, and when he's playing like what he's playing, he's not moving the offense. Then Taysom Hill's running in there. You seeing Taysom's reps go up as his is, and see, there's a rhythm. It's a rhythm situation too. Because if a quarterback has got it going on, you don't take him out and put Taysom in there. If he got it going on and he got the hot hand, you let him ride with the hot hand. If he's hot, let him cook. Put Taysom in as a wide receiver or running back, behind him when he's in there. We use them both but if he's cooking, you leave him in there. If Jameis is cooking, you leave him in there. You don't pull out Taysom to put him in there. If he's cooking and he got a rhythm, you leave him in there and let him handle his business. But they're starting to see that he can't move the offense, so they mixing Taysom Hill, especially in the red zone. Yesterday we seen Taysom come in and try to bully himself into the end zone, and he took Carr out of there. So I mean, Michael Thomas, this is something that Michael Thomas tweeted, because we've said the same thing, and many people said the same thing. The guy's not looking over the field. I keep saying there's a cottage industry around studying Derek Carr's ineffective ability and what he's doing wrong. And the thing is, everybody can see it if they study the film and watch the tape. You can see where the other receivers are at the field, and the fact that his head is facing one side and guys are streaking on the other side. Like I said in the Atlanta game, the same thing was happening in the Atlanta game. He had guys streaking down the field, and Jesse Bates was basically playing center field. He had wide receivers to the opposite side of the field that had one-on-one coverage. He didn't even look in their direction. That's why those guys are getting frustrated, because they're running these routes full speed and he's not even looking in their direction. So, I mean, it's a pain, man. It really is. So that's Michael Thomas, and they end up doing that. So they're talking about he might not be here next year, whatever, man. So is Dennis Allen. So it could, so a lot of people not going to be here next year. God damn it. All right. So anyway, let's move into this article right here. Derek Carr in protocol, also being checked out for rib injury, which is old news. I've been telling y'all here. He had a bruised ribs. I wouldn't be surprised if he has something broken in there. But I told you, a lot of this happened with the Green Bay game. When he got slammed down on the turf, they said it was a shoulder issue. And really, they went, okay, if it was a shoulder issue, they went to look at his shoulder and see something, but they took him to the hospital to have him x-rayed to see if he had bodily damage to his body. And then after that, they were looking at it. I was like, man, something don't look right about this dude after all that happened. And then we seen the defender came by. I forgot what game it was, and slapped him on his rib. I thought he punched him, like on the way he acted, but the guy tapped him on his rib area passing by, and he bent over in pain, like somebody kicked him in the stomach. He bent over in intense pain, and I was like, did y'all see that? And then after the game, they put some type of bruised chest indication on the injury report after we seen it. And I say, family, see, listen, no. And I told y'all, I say, man, something wrong with this dude. They saying it's a chest. It's bruised ribs, broken ribs, something going on around his ribs area. And every time he gets hit, he folds under into the fetal position. You know, he folds under to the fetal position. I'm telling you, something wrong with this dude. This is an injury that the Saints been hiding and lying about. So let's get into it. Cat Terrell says Saints quarterback Carr in concussion protocol after sustaining second concussion in 3 weeks. He got to sit down. Don't run this dude back out here and call yourself putting this dude in anything. Don't run him back out here no more. Carr left Sunday's game with the Lions in Week 10 against the Vikings to go into the concussion protocol, but sustained other injuries both of the games as well. Carr, who sprained the AC joint in his throwing shoulder in Week 3 against the Packers, has been listed with shoulder injuries in all 3 games. There's something there that's still working through. It's not something that keep him from being able to play or be effective when he's playing. Pretty typical that when a guy has an injury, if he's getting any sort of treatment at all, that he's listed that way on the injury report. So let's go over this again. This is Dennis Allen talking, which we know Dennis Allen is a liar and he's full of BS. There's something there that's still working through. It's not something that keeps him from being able to play. Yes, it is. Or be effective when he's playing. Yes, it is. Pretty typical that when a guy has an injury, if he's getting any sort of treatment at all, he's listed that way on the injury report. Let me tell you something, fam. Dennis Allen is not a doctor, but I was able to pull, and this is in a prior stream. I ain't gonna do it tonight for the interest of time, but I remember, and y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember when the injury happened with Carr back in the Green Bay Packer game in Week 3. After that happened, I brought out medical journals on this AC sprain and the stuff that the Saints was telling us. These particular journals that I brought out, this information that I was bringing out straight from hospital websites, and medical websites, reputable websites that talk about these type of sports injuries. And it talked about what the injury is, what's the proper time frame for the injury to totally heal, and what you're not supposed to do and what you're supposed to do with this injury for it to heal correctly. And nothing that the Saints are doing with Carr right now is in league or in unison with what the medical journals told us. And it was sports related journals. Put one in the chat if y'all remember me showing y'all that. I covered it all. Nothing that they're doing right now is in respect to health of Carr. They're forcing him out there when they were supposed to set him down. I said it then. I said he should be out for 2 I was like, for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, let Jameis play. Get Jameis ready, let him play, and then bring Carr back. Had they done that, we would not be sitting up here at 5-7. I really do think that if he was out and we had him in for Jameis for about a month, then things would have looked a lot different than what they looked right now. You most certainly would not be as disjointed as a 5-7 team. You'd have been having a lot more competitive offensive play with Jameis in there. Now, Jameis is a gunslinger too, but DC gives these guys an opportunity. He ain't always accurate like in the back end of yesterday's game when he missed on those throws, but still in all, he's better than Carr in the system. And I was saying he should have been set down and Jameis should have been playing. That's why you got a veteran in here. But they kept him. They shot him up with painkiller. They lied on the injury report to put him out there and say, oh, is this, that, and the third? And then several weeks ago, they ripped him off the injury report, period. Like his shoulder had totally healed, which we knew it didn't. But anyway, Allen said Carr's shoulder appears to be okay after the Lions game, but Carr is being evaluated for a rib injury. The rib injury was initially described as a back injury when Carr left the game. How is it? It's a back injury. We don't have all the results on the back on that, but the shoulder seems like it came out fine. We'll evaluate him as we go through the week and see what his availability is. He shouldn't be playing, man. Winston would likely be the starter if Carr is unable to play against the Panthers. All right, he says Winston has come in for Carr for 3 games. Carr left while in injury. So, and Allen saying we'll play most of this. I don't want to talk about all this, but it is what it is. The Saints also gave an update on injury member of the chain crew. Who had his, they say he transported them to the hospital. Remember the little guy that got ran over and he bent his leg funny on there? It was awful. Fractured leg. They said he underwent an MRI testing this morning and was seen at the hospital by an attending doctor. And they said that he suffered a dislocated knee and a fractured fibula. His blood vessels remain intact. He will likely undergo surgery. And he appreciates the many well wishes and the care that continues to receive. So shout out to that official. That was a horrible, ugly injury. He went down there and it tore up his leg. So we'll play more of this Dennis Allen stuff momentarily. All right, now on to the next one. Lions, Bruce Irvin takes dig at Saints QB Derek Carr. What do you mean a dig at him? Well, in the Saints Detroit, in his debut with the Saints, the 36-year-old Bruce Irvin delivered the much-needed pass rush the team was seeking heading into the Week 13 matchup. Irvin recorded a sack, a tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hit in the 33-28 Lions victory over the Saints. When speaking to Pro Football, Mike Fioria, and by the way, let me give you some sidebar. Mike Fioria does not like Derek Carr. He's been going after Derek Carr even when Carr was with the Raiders. He doesn't like Carr. Carr doesn't like him. And that's a relationship between the two. They don't like each other. So Fioria when I'm going to play you the clip from him momentarily. The veterans defensive lineman did more than a rattle Carr. He knocked Carr out of the game during the fourth quarter of the play that resulted in a 15-yard personal foul. He should have been thrown out of the game, and he'll be fine too. We saw the big hit on Carr that was also from Irvin. He's expecting a fine. He knows that he can't put his body weight on the quarterback. And for Carr, he's got a concussion, back injury, and shoulder issue. All right. So anyway, what does he mean? He kind of took a dig at Carr. Well, let me play this for you. Give me just a second. I'm going to play this from you. And this is what, hold on here. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Because Mike Fioria actually had a, hold on, fam. Give me just a second. Let me put this up here. All right. I want y'all to let me know if y'all can hear this, because this is just a small, like a minute, 30-something thing for Fioria, what he was saying about the guy. It is.
Actually, Mike Flora, you spoke to one of the guys, Bruce Irvin, who had a big impact today as well.
Yeah, and he just joined the team recently. He's only been in pads 3 times, he told me, since January when he finished last season with the Seahawks. He had a sack today on roughly 13 snaps, and he said he knows from playing with Derek Carr when the Raiders were in Oakland for 3 years, if you get around him, he gets rattled. And we saw the big hit to Carr. That was also from Irvin. He's expecting a fine. He knows he can't put his body weight on the quarterback. And for Carr, he's got a concussion, back injury, shoulder injury. They host the Panthers next week. Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill both played quarterback after Carr left.
Actually, Mike Flora, you spoke.
All right. So there go Fioria talking about him. And he said after knocking a man out of the game, He didn't say it's to him that he gets rattled, and there's no doubt about it. He gets rattled around, even on this play when he gets sacked right here. Derek Carr is not comfortable back there. He hadn't been comfortable back there all day, and the Saints should know better. But it is what it is. So he's going to take shots. He's taking shots from the team. He's taking shots from the family members, and the reason being, and like I said, the problem with Derek Carr is he's not doing what he's supposed to do in terms of his fundamentals. He's not spanning the field. And that's why receivers are getting upset. Michael Thomas is talking about him on social media. The family members who are studying film and tape could see it. Obviously, it doesn't take a film genius, a tape genius to see that Derek Carr is only looking at half the field. It's just ridiculous. So at some point, things eventually they got to change. And being that instead of him deciding to change them and understand what he's doing wrong, he pretends like everything is positive. It don't work like that. Just because you think things are positive, that does not get rid of the negative. That is not how it works. If people told you that, that's not how the universe works. It don't work like that. Just because you're being positive, it does not eliminate the negative. You must eliminate the negative by solving the negative, not by being positive. And you will get positive results once you figure out what you need to do to solve whatever the negative issue is. So it's like, ignoring a dangerous animal in the room. I'm just going to be positive that the animal don't come over here instead of getting your gun and shooting the piss out of it. You see positive results. So, I mean, in the end, man, it's like that's just a known tool a lot of people go to. But listen, from experience, I'm telling you, that's not how it works. Being positive is cool, but it also comes with some action to solve the negative. You got to solve the negative. Whatever the negative item is, if it's a person, is whatever the case may be, you got to have a solution for the negative while you're doing that. And you just can't you can't talk about winning the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. That's what I'm saying. Whatever the thought process, it got to be carried out with an action. That's how it works in the universe. It works like that. You just can't have a thought and no action. So anyway, man, it is what it is, man. But yeah, thank you, Charles. Shout out to you, man, for the for the super chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
I want to say thank you very much for picking me up and bringing me back to this world.
But yeah, that's what I was saying about him when he got on the mic, and Jameis did a little bit of it too. And I think it's just what they're telling them to do because they're saying the same thing. They're using the same verbiage in different ways when they talk about, oh, we're just going to be, the only thing that matters is the guys in that room, such and such. All the noise outside, we don't pay attention to that. That's a lie. You don't have to stand up here and lie about it because a lot of what you're hearing outside is not necessarily all noise. That's the point. That's what I was saying that you can't, whatever people are saying, they're reacting. It's almost like they know they're producing a negative. So instead of solving what they're doing, because they are the producers of the negative, the Saints, because of their play, the play stinks. They're not giving any positive results. So instead of solving the negative results that they themselves are creating, the Saints team, they would just say that you have the negative noise. That is your fault because you are not being positive and that you are not supporting the team. And by default, you are hurting us because you're bringing this negative noise. We, being the Saints, know what we're doing and you are not helping. All you need to do is show up to the dome, shut up, cheer, and go buy them high-ass nachos over there, okay? Now, that's what you can do to help us turn this around. And we're like, no, we're not going to do that. You can go to hell with them $20 nachos, and you can go to hell with this team. If you don't listen to me, we will pull every penny that we got, and we'll take that and spend it on our children for Christmas. We don't need you giving our money to a sorry product. And people are getting on code. They're finally listening. I've been saying this for years. We need to get on code. When they produce this type of stuff, this is what we do to get them right. We don't have to go and put bags on our heads and do the stuff our predecessors done. We don't have to do that. All we need to do is pull that money back and tell them, listen, if you want this support, make the changes or you lose this bread. They're going to make the changes because not one person in that building that Gail on that team is important enough for her to go against the mighty Who Dat Nation and their money. It's as simple as that. There's not one person, not Mickey, not Dennis, not Carmichael, not anybody in that building that's more important than making the Who Dat Nation mad, happy once you made them mad and you want their dollar back. You want that money back. Not one of them people in there is more important than getting that money. I'll promise you that. So anyway, like I said, this is the Fire Dennis Allen shirts. The guys was handing out to the people there. And shout out to Jeff Duncan, who provided this shot from the press box that's showing you the lower bowl section right here. You can see right here, it's littered with Lions people, and it's usually Saints people behind the bench, but it's littered with Lion people because a lot of the Saints people had sold their tickets because they're not going to the games. So it begins and it ends. It's going to be ending real soon. So if he loses, I'm put it to you like this: he loses Carolina game, he will not survive to the next week. It'll be too hot. That is clearly obvious. So a lot of people are going to be wishing for him to get fired at the Carolina game. No, there's still a chance to turn it around. And perhaps with all of this is going on, these stubborn dinosaur people will eventually change their perspective and make the changes that people demand. If not, then you will be changed out. Ain't no doubt about it. The Who Dat Nation is undefeated. I keep saying that. You cannot, if you're the team and it ain't just a bunch of fringe people out there saying certain things. No, they're saying this in harmony. They're saying it with their chests and they're standing on it. And you can ask for all the support you want. We still not coming. We not coming, and we justified in our stance. So anyway, here go Dennis Allen, fam. I'm gonna play Dennis Allen. We're gonna react to this, and then we're gonna get out of here. Here's DA.
Obviously another case of that. I know you mentioned 15 scripted first plays earlier. I think Colin Saunders said something to that effect. Is there any effort or energy element? What do you pinpoint on?
No, look, I mean, I think each game's been different. I mean, if you look at this, game, obviously we had the long run by Gibbs, which was a big play on the first series. I thought we had an opportunity to potentially get him off the field on the first third down of the game. We didn't do it, so that was a big play in the game. And then your second possession, they're taking the ball over on whatever it was, an 18-yard line or something like that. So that's how this game played out. I thought our guys settled down and played much better after that. And certainly, we know that we got to be able to start faster. There were some encouraging things in the game that I felt like looked more like I think we're capable of playing defense against a really good offense. So, we spotted a really good team, 21 points, battled ourselves back into the game and weren't able to finish it.
Dennis, do you have any new information or updates on Derek Carr?
Yeah, so he was being evaluated. He's in the concussion protocol, but he was also being evaluated for, rib injury. We don't have all the results back on that, but the shoulder seemed like it came out fine. So, look, we'll evaluate him as we go throughout the week, see what his availability will be.
So was the rib instead of it was initially reported the game was the back?
Basically got landed on.
Does in the concussion protocol mean he did suffer a concussion?
Yes.
Is there any worry there of 2 and 3 games?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think that's really kind of in the hands of the medical people in terms of where we're at with that. And so I think John Amos does a really good job. He's pretty conservative in those things. So we'll go through the protocol and listen to what the doctors tell us and see where we're at.
There have been a lot of high-profile quarterback injuries this year across the league. Is that something as a coach that you've noticed more as well? Like, for instance, are quarterbacks getting hurt more since the time you've been coaching? Or?
Yeah, man, it's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer to that. I mean, obviously, there's been, several, quarterback injuries, this season, and certainly we've had our fair share over the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't know if it's more or not. I haven't really done the research on that, to be honest with you.
Has it changed your thought about like the importance of a backup or having that guy ready in case?
Well, look, I mean, I think that's always been an important, part. I mean, obviously it's the most important position. So, um, you want to feel like you have a capable guy back there.
Does the protocol change when the same player has multiple concussions?
I don't think the protocol changes. I mean, I think that's more, obviously the doctors are, probably a little bit more cautious in those situations.
On time, have you been encouraged by what you've seen from Jameis when he's had to come in?
Yeah, look, I mean, James, he does some good things. He's been a starter in our league. There's a reason why he's here as our backup. And, if Derek's not able to go, then, the plan right now would be, Jameis will be in there and we'll put a plan together, gives him an opportunity to have success.
Coach, you have an injured player tweeting about your quarterback during the game. I ask this as respectfully as I can. Do you have a problem with that? Is it, at some point, do you think that player needs to be advised or whatever that that's not what should be happening?
Yeah, we'll keep that in house, but I guess I was made aware of that last night. So
he deleted or took down his Twitter account. Did someone tell him that he had to take the tweets down? Or
I'm not aware of that.
Was it the plan for Cam Jordan to get about 16, 17 snaps, or did that go?
All right, let's look at it. Let me interject. First of all, thank you, Kevin, for becoming a member of the channel. Much love to you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up and bringing me back to this world.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you, brother. And Charles asking you how to get to the Patron. Oh, you mean Patreon? Dude, now the Patreon, bro, is www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. It should be attached. It should be in the links of the channel page. You can look in the description section, or I could just type it in the. I can just put it in the chat right here. Hold on, let me put it. It's www.patreon. Patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. I'm tapping it right now, fam, and that's the link right there, my friend. You can just hit that link and it will take you there, and you can just there's several options there. Like I said, I'm gonna do the film work tomorrow on the channel for Tuesday, Patreon Tuesday. That's why I'm not really on Tuesdays on this channel, because I'll be on the Patreon, covering news, and then it's a separate video where I do the film work on. We look at the angles and all of the stuff that's going wrong with the team in terms of on the field, not just Derek Carr, but we have an opportunity to look at the offensive line and kind of look at them and see how they're doing as well. Like last week, I was very disappointed in how McCoy looked. He was down on the ground several times. This last game, he had several penalties as well. He was just like, dude, at one time was shuffling his feet, doing this Cupid shuffle. And I'm like, dude, what? So, I mean, it's like, that's why I've been kind of hard on the offensive line. The tape shows each one of their individual performances, and they have not been having a very smooth, consistent performance week after week. And it suffers the running game for real. They're not really pushing or recreating a new offensive line or line of scrimmage. They're not doing that. They are barely providing a push on most of the plays. That's why it appears like Elvin Kamara's having so much difficulty back there. They're not really opening up the lanes for him to run, and you can see all that. We cover all that, so check that out, Charles. Thank you for asking, bro. But yeah, let me get back to this with the reporter asked by the Michael Thomas commentary, and we covered that early in the show about Michael Thomas tweeting about the Juwan Johnson interception, where Derek Carr fired it to Juwan Johnson, and it went off of his fingertips for an interception. Ultimately, an interception turned into a touchdown for the Detroit Lions. And Mike was mad about it because he looked at the film and seen that to the opposite side of the field, there was a wide open wide receiver there was another player opposite side of the field that was a better option for the ball. And he tweeted that, and he was upset, and ultimately he removed the tweet. And ultimately, I think he shut his Twitter down. he ultimately shut the Twitter down. But what's going on here is a constant theme of frustration. Now, does this lend itself to Dennis Allen losing the team? They're currently on a 3-game losing streak with 5 games remaining. When players start and listen, Michael Thomas, like the article astutely mentioned, recruited. He was the one that was heavily involved with recruiting and bringing Derek Carr to the Saints. But like I said, he didn't make a mistake insofar as saying that Carr could bring explosive plays to the Saints. But I don't think anybody seen that Carr really, he's not even the Raider quarter. He's not even as good as the Raiders quarterback. I mean, he's worse than what he was with the Raiders. Like his game has suffered. His game, he doesn't know the offensive playbook like he should. And this is a QB friendly system. They've done everything to ingratiate themselves in terms of getting him to learn the system. They allowed Chucky to come in here and school him with the system. They've given him all of the, tutelage that they possibly can have. They've, given him all of the weapons that he was possibly had before everybody started getting hurt. He had access to everybody and was not overseeing the field. His problem was not outside of just not knowing the book. He was not going through the full progression, and that's what it was. And when you do that, you cut off half your options. So you're trying to force the ball to 1 or 2 guys here, and they got other guys around the field. Most of the times, the Saints will be involved with 3 wide receiver sets with a tight end and Kamara circling out of the backfield. There are options on both sides of the field. You cannot get, lazy and only look at one side of the field because you're nervous back there in the pocket, And they're saying you can't have a guy doing this and talking to such a. Listen, the man's doing it because Dennis Allen, to a great degree, has lost a lot of these guys in the locker room. He has. With this late in the game, a lot of people have lost faith in Dennis Allen. And it's quite evident they've lost faith in Dennis Allen. They really have. Chris Olave he got arrested for driving fast. He was frustrated with the BS that was going on with Carr. And Carr saying he running wrong, and then Dennis Allen chimes to say, yeah, it was on Chris Olave. Not saying nothing about this other dude over here looking and staring down wide receivers and looking at half the field. Didn't say nothing. Never heard him say not one of those things. He would not dare criticize Carr and say, Carr got to stop staring down wide receivers. I told him, I said, Derek, listen, you can't go out there and stare wide receivers down. That's why we had the pick 6 that hurt us in the game. You can't do that. He don't talk like that, and he don't tell Derek Carr that. They just pretend like Derek Carr made a mistake, and they just forget about it. And it's the same thing, and that's why there's no accountability. So you mean to tell me the reporters asking Dennis Allen to tell Michael Thomas to be accountable to a team that's not being accountable? Bro, what are you talking about? You gotta ask, tell them that they just can't do that. Shut your ass up, man. Where you come from, man? What church you come from, bro? Where do you come from, man, with this logic, man? This team is already falling through the floor. Dennis Allen has lost this team, man. That's why they're underperforming. That's why they're making all these mistakes. That's why people that are usually good, that's crazy. Oh, he gotta let him know that he just can't do that, man. Shut your ass up. What you talking about, man? That man talking the truth, man. You want to shut him down, and you got a guy stand up here lying. So you're gonna listen to a liar and shut the truth sayer down. That's how it go. That's how the church he must be going to is the other church because he don't know what the hell he talking about. We got to keep Michael quiet, telling the truth, because Derek Carr is the one that we need to protect. To be the hell with everybody else. Derek Carr, he's the answer. No, he's not the answer to anything. He's not the answer to anything, man. He really isn't. And I'm not disparaging the guy because he hurt and he broken up. Well, listen, bro, you're not ready, man. You're not ready. You haven't been ready all year long. You haven't. Anytime you have an opportunity to go over the field and you throwing the ball to half the field, you refuse to see that you're not ready. Anytime you're staring wide receivers down and they picking you off, you're not ready, dude. You're not ready. You are not ready. And instead of taking his lumps and bumps like a true leader, he stands behind and said, nope. It's all 11 people out there. We all at fault. But hold on, bro. You the quarterback. Ain't you the leader of the team? Yep. But we're still 11. We're still a team, and there's still 11 people out here, and we all at fault. Everybody got to do their job to have success. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because if the right tackle breaks down and the guy blitzes in, you're supposed to see it, scramble out, and make a quick throw. Not all the time you're gonna get 11 guys on the field doing their job to perfection. It won't happen like that. Sometimes somebody gonna let somebody slip, and you got to adjust. As a quarterback, you're supposed to see them coverages. You're supposed to see all of that stuff. This dude, when you can see people are crowding the defensive line to blitz him in his face, and this dude don't audible out the play. He just go through it. Next thing you know, they're knocking him on his ass, and he standing up frustrated. What happened? Well, if you look at the defense, they were showing blitz dummy. You're supposed to set the protections or either audible out of the play to something to take advantage of what they're doing. If they want to be over aggressive, maybe you should do something else to take advantage of that. If you see them piling up on your right side, like they're gonna blitz and try to overload that right side, maybe you should kind of audible out to a screen to the left and take advantage of that. There's all kind of stuff that you can do. They prepare this guy for this stuff, but in the end, man, he's not ready. He hasn't been ready all season long, and that's the truth. That's the God honest truth.
Based on
the plan was for him to have a limited role. And I felt like that was probably, kind of about the right number, 15 to 20 plays in the game. He came out of the game, pretty well. And I thought he was able to be fairly effective when he was in there. But I was pleased with the way, he's a tough dude. He went in there and battled, and I thought he gave us a little something.
And give an update on Malcolm Roach.
Yeah, Malcolm's got a knee injury that, I think that's probably one that, potentially could require surgery. So I don't know that final determination has been made yet, but.
When the defensive end takes your quarterback and drives him into the ground, do you think that player should be fined or suspended for that? Because that was a lot more than the tackle. Do you agree?
Well, look, there's protocols in our league to address those situations. And so, I would anticipate that not only did he get a 15-yard penalty, but I would anticipate that there's probably going to be league discipline on that.
Dennis, with the kind of struggles defending the run lately, has that been like a line of scrimmage issue or second line issue?
Yeah, I think it's more that we've had 2 or 3 plays that end up being, explosive plays. We got to eliminate those 2 or 3 plays. The first run was a tackling issue. And I think that was probably the most discouraging, part of that in terms of the run defense, was the one run play with Gibbs, and we had a chance to potentially get him down for a 3 or 4 yard gain. We missed a tackle, and he ended up having, I think it was a 36-yard run. So that was the biggest run play of the game. So there was a lot of plays in the game that we played well from a run standpoint, but they had a couple of reverses, and they had that one long run.
Yeah, Allen, it kind of gets lost in the watch, but Allen set another couple of franchise records. What has he meant to this?
Look, I think Allen's been playing exceptionally well. I think he's been running the ball really hard. I think he's, been giving us some stuff in the passing game. Some of the things he's been able to do out of the backfield. Obviously, he had the screen the other day. So I think Alvin's playing at a really high level. And he's somebody that, he's a playmaker for us, and we've got to continue to find ways to get him the ball. And I think we've done a better job of doing that this year.
Big picture, y'all have lost 3 in a row, but mostly you've been playing one-score games. You're still in contention in the division. What's your message to the team this week?
Go 1-0 this week. Focus on getting the win this week. We got Carolina coming in here, a divisional opponent. We're making corrections that we need to make, but we're not spending a whole lot of time looking in the rearview mirror. We're looking out the front windshield and what's ahead of us. And those are the things that we can control.
Dennis, between the way the crowd acted yesterday and even some of the social media stuff brought up earlier, and of course the three-game losing streak, how do you keep the team from unraveling with all these circumstances?
Look, we got a good locker room. We got a lot of veteran players in that locker room. I'm not worried about that. We've got to go out and play good football, which we're going to do. And our focus is starting that this week against Carolina. So that's where our thought process is. I have no problems with, our locker room. I think those guys are going to, hang tight in there together and keep swinging. And there's still a lot out there for us to play for.
In those one score games,
They ain't gonna pay attention to it. The locker room, and they're not gonna pay attention to it, and they're gonna keep chopping wood and keep swinging and chopping wood and keep swinging and chopping some more wood and keep swinging. We're gonna keep chopping wood till ain't no damn forest is left. We're gonna just keep on doing it and keep doing everything we can do to win it. No, I mean that's not reality, bro. This is a social media world, and when the message is unified, and the message is, and they don't want to, and see it's like it's the Saints against you can't defeat the Who Dat Nation, fool. These boneheaded, empty-headed dinosaur relics don't get what's going on here. They don't get it. You don't understand that what they're saying, what people are saying outside the building, they're not saying it to be mean, you idiot. They're saying it because you're giving them you, Dennis Allen, you, Mickey Loomis, and the brass on top of the Saints are not turning out a good product. They were patient for the last 2 years when they didn't get playoff teams, despite the fact that they spent a ton of money improving the team. Every year, the talent was better. This team was supposed to be better than the previous team, and it was from a talent perspective, has not translated. What's the common denominator here? Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen lacks the necessary successful head coach experience needed to guide a team through turbulent times. That's what it comes down to. And what are those like those intangibles that he's missing out on, like being a good motivator, being a person that understands people and know how to deal with different cats, understanding when change is when it's needed and when it's not needed, when it's time to give it a little bit of change just to see if things change a bit so that you can be able to kind of keep the people off you. Hey, he did change the offensive coordinators and see what it did and such. None of that's happening. The same stuff that happened from the start of the year is happening to now. There has not been no changes. And he knew there were supposed to be changes twice during the year. He said it at different intervals of time, but yet provided no change. There has not been any schematic change in terms of the Saints changing personnel at the play calling level. There has not been any change. And that's what people are saying. Now it got to the point where you think that you're going to say these things and it's going to stop them from talking. He's seeing the shirts that was hanging out with Fire Dennis Allen. He watched social media just like everybody do. You have to be a literal caveman with no television, no smartphone, no nothing to understand what you're getting. If you follow the NFL news and notes, you're going to get the Sports Coma. You're going to get other shows that are saying the same thing. Everybody in unison. There's nobody standing up for Dennis Allen because they know that he's not the right person for the job. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, except for Mickey Loomis. Well, he's a guy. I just think he's the best guy for the job. But Mickey, maybe you made a wrong bet. Could you reevaluate? No, I'm not going to reevaluate. And that's what I'm saying. That's when they stick to it. And Mickey Loomis is supposed to. I don't think. And this is what I'm saying about Mickey and the rest of them. This is what I'm saying about the great Sean Payton that was in the building at the time. And I say great Sean Payton because Sean Payton made all these people look better than what they actually were. Mickey Loomis wasn't doing a damn thing. Only thing he did was go get the players that Sean Payton wanted to get. But as you can see, his managerial style sucks. When you don't have a guy as talented as Sean Payton, they don't have the same leadership or motivational abilities. Not even a disciplinarian. That's another intangible that he lacks. If he had discipline, he can be able to whip a lot of this in shape. But he doesn't even have discipline to even force the team to do certain things, like to stay on code and operate a certain way. Like even put the so-called fear of God in them by removing them off the field if they're playing bad, if they're dropping passes, if they're overthrowing people, if they're missing tackles, or whatever. Bringing guys, moving guys out of the rotation and bringing guys into the rotation that will do the job. If you don't do what you're supposed to, I will pull you out of there. And that is something that scares players because they don't want to lose their job. They want to keep playing. None of that's available. No accountability, no discipline. It's just a bunch of just a chump standing before you telling you the same thing over and over again while telling you he's not listening to anything outside. We got a good locker room. Is that also the same good locker room that Chris Olave and Michael Thomas is a part of? The same Michael Thomas that was tweeting and saying that this dude is throwing the ball to Jawan Johnson as opposed to throwing it to the opposite side of the field. They had wide open wide receivers streaking down the field. That same guy? No, bro. And see if he believes that he's out of touch too with his locker room. He's out of touch with his locker room. There is not too many people in their locker room that believe Dennis Allen will turn this around. They on a 3-game slide. They should beat Carolina. But then again, maybe they don't. But for more intense purpose, they'll beat Carolina because actually Carolina's a lot worse than us. Carolina stumbles, falls. But then again, if Carolina beats the Saints, then Dennis Allen will get fired because Carolina is literally the worst team in the NFL. And if you lose to them in your own building, you don't deserve to be the head coach of this team. So in all purposes, he probably will beat Carolina, but he won't win a lot of games after this because he don't make the changes. And he won't make the changes until he'll be forced to. And by the time he's forced to, it'll be too late. That's what kind of dude this is. That's why he don't need to be the head coach. It takes vision. That's another intangible. To be able to clairvoyance, to be able to intuition, to be able to look down the field or down the road and see what's coming and to be able to adjust prior to getting to that point. He don't have any of that. He don't have any of it. He's just a stonehead. He's just a blockhead. All he does is look forward and keep doing the same thing. We'll keep doing the same thing until it works. That's literally his mentality. And Mickey Loomis is watching him sink the team into the ground. And we got the best people. I'm not listening to your negative noise. And when the team misses the playoffs again, what you gonna come up here? Well, it was injuries. It wasn't Dennis. It wasn't Derek. It was injuries. Well, it was unfortunate, all those injuries. They're gonna do the same thing every year. Just don't let them get away with that this year. Don't let them get, well, what was injuries, Skill? What are you talking about? When we didn't make the playoffs in 2023 is because of the injuries. Obviously, well, Carr got hurt during the season. He was injured. That's why he didn't perform. Now, listen, what I want to do is I want to bring Dennis Allen back for a third year with Derek Carr. That way, have an opportunity. They can work together again, and it'll be fine. I'm telling you guys, we got the best guys in the building. And listen, I already told you, when I say something about my heart and I say it's the best thing for me and my heart of hearts, then when I say from my heart, listen, that's a humdinger. I'm telling you straight off. And that's not a bunch of bad jargon. I'm telling you. That's a humdinger right there. I'm telling you. I am telling you, you can bet the farm on that, Buckle. I'll tell you something. No, Mickey, we're not gonna do that because we don't trust you because your judgment is bad. You shown to had and exhibit very poor judgment when you chose this guy, and we would even be patient with you so that you can even see Dennis Allen early on. Maybe you thought he was the guy, but now after a full year, almost 2 years of Dennis Allen underperforming with the team, you still have the same idea you had when you gave him the job. If you do, then you need to go too. That's what I was saying. When I heard him say what he was saying, I was like, you got to go do because you a problem too. You the one protecting this dude. You supposed to be over his shoulder telling him you need to make changes, man. I'm hearing these people, they calling up here, they fussing at me. Little old ladies is beating me with their wigs in the supermarket. I can't buy eggs. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you about that one. I thought I told the family members about that the other day. I went to the store. I was in Rouse's. And I was like, man, I got to give me some eggs, man. I'm going to make me an omelet. I went back there to the section where the eggs were. Let me tell you, I went to reach. I stuck my arm out to get the eggs. And the little old lady got right in front of me. And I say, ma'am, excuse you. And she did not say a word. And she folded her arms. And I said, ma'am. And then I tried to step around her. She stepped back in my way. And I said, ma'am, I'm trying to excuse you. I'm trying to get some eggs. And and you wouldn't believe what she did after that. I said, ma'am, and before I can get it out, she took her wig off and started beating me with it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? I got the hell up out of there. Unfortunately, I didn't make an omelet. I had to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but that was awful. I can't be having little ladies beating me with their wigs. That's awful. I'm telling you, these people are dangerous. Oh my God. Yeah, but see, that's what it's it's coming down to. Oh man, a little satire, man. We got to do something to shake this crap, man. With Dennis Allen, man. Okay, a few more minutes, fam. Then we're gonna
Games when, three of them, your quarterback got hurt. Do you look at that and say, like, if Carr had managed to sail, who might have won those games?
Yeah, I don't play a lot of, ifs and buts. We didn't get the job done. And it's unfortunate that, Derek got hurt. I think he completed his last 13 pass attempts. Got off to a little bit of a rough start. But I think after that, he kind of settled in and was doing some good things.
Too early in the week to make an assessment on whether he'd be available on Sunday?
It's too early.
I think Trevor Petting's played like 10 snaps since the Jacksonville game. Yesterday, you guys went Landon Young over him. Is there something you need to see from him, or where's kind of?
Yeah, look, he's still a young player that's still developing and working. He's getting a lot of good reps in practice. We're putting the guys out there that we think, give us the best chance to have success. I think our offensive line has, played a lot better, over the last, call it half a dozen games. Look, each week we look at it and who's available to us and what roles we want them to play.
Not trying to assign blame on this, but just trying to be able to procedurally explain something we haven't seen much before. When James Hurst ran into Derek, when a play is designed as a toss play to the right, is the quarterback normally supposed to turn right coming away from the center instead of left?
No, that was a toss play. I mean, that's really everybody in the league runs the play the same way. It was, look, it was an unfortunate play. It doesn't happen very often. It did, but in terms of the design of the play, that's the design of the play.
Coach, I'm trying.
Unfortunate. Perhaps if Derek Carr gets the ball and possesses it a little bit more aggressively, where the ball isn't getting poked out by his pulling offensive lineman, because he didn't really punch it. His fingers just literally poked the ball out of his hands. And if you replay the moment it did, and I did, and I'm going to show it to the family members again on Patreon, that the ball came out and Derek Carr acted like the ball was still in his hands, and then it was like it was weird. It was like a bad Madden glitch moment. Like he hikes the ball gets poked out of his hands by Hurst, and he's still moving like the ball is in his hands, and then he reacts. And I'm like, what? It was weird. It's really weird. Like the ball was out of his hands and he was still like he had the ball. And I'm like, usually when the ball comes out, you feel it come out, and then it's a motion, like your head drops to the ground and you're like, where the ball at, so you can try to cover it up. That wasn't the case. He was motioning like he still had the ball in his hands. It was very weird. But Dennis Allen doesn't take the opportunity here to say, nah, Derek has to be able to possess the ball and kind of protect against that, kind of cover it up a little bit better. He just marks it off as an unfortunate incident that started the fourth quarter of the game yesterday, seemed like last week, but yesterday, Sunday afternoon, it's just as unfortunate. He could have took the opportunity right there to put some accountability on Carr. Like, yeah, Derek's got to make sure when he comes up out of there that he got to hold on to the ball a little stronger than that, so that don't happen next time. But even with that, Dennis Allen doesn't even criticize his quarterback. Where's the accountability? He'll say some shit about his wide receivers, but he refuses. Not one time I heard him say anything to check the quarterback, and the quarterback's had a lot to check for. It's not like you can say all of the good stuff. He had 13 something, whatever he said, 13 straight completions or something. I don't even believe that. I'm gonna have to look that up myself. I don't believe nothing he says. That sounds really unbelievable that Derek Carr had 13 straight completions. If that's what Dennis Allen, if I remember him saying that, he had like 13 straight completions. That don't sound right at all. The way he's, I don't know what he's talking about on that one. He must be talking about another Derek Carr somewhere in Spain or in Pakistan, because I don't know who he's talking about 13 straight passes or completions or whatever the hell it was. But the reality, this is the thing. He doesn't even take the opportunity to criticize Carr or to even correct Carr in a way. Like you could say, listen, he has to do better with that ball. Even when he threw that pick six, he didn't say, you know what, you can't stare guys down. We got to get on him and make them. So my point is, if you have the head coach who refuses to check quarterbacks, and you don't have to check them in the public's view, but I know how he's handling this guy with kid gloves because he understands that he's tied to his future, and he was the last thing he had. But this Carr dude is not ready. He's not. He's not ready, man. He's not ready. Like I said, he's been, and you can't protect him now. We got 5 games remaining, and he talking about, oh well, we got some time. No, you don't have any time. You buffoon. You do not have any more time. This is the NFL stands for not for long, and that's what these people are out of touch. They say stuff that's so untrue every week. It's untrue. Oh, we got time. You don't have no time. You don't have any time. The NFL stands for not for long. You don't have as much time as you think. You really don't have as much time as you think. I'm just gonna keep it real. But anyway, that's enough for him. I just think that at the end of the day, family, it's the negative noise philosophy. It's all this stuff about negative. Oh, and Dennis Allen said, "Oh, I don't even pay attention to any of that stuff." You're just incensing the family members when you pretend like they don't exist. The same people you saying that you're not paying attention to are the same people that's in the dome yelling their heads off to provide the crowd noise for you, and you don't do nothing for them. They so incredibly out of touch and so ignorant. They don't realize that they are literally giving me and others like me that think like me the firepower necessarily to take them apart. Literally, for real. They're giving us all the ammunition that we need to get Dennis Allen fired, to get Mickey Loomis moved out of there. They really are. Because all the thing I'm doing is showing that they saying they're ignoring you. Mickey Loomis calls you negative noise. Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael and Derek Carr stood up there smiling his ass off and talked about all them Hall of Fame practice. He didn't say Hall of Fame, but he made you feel like, oh, we had a great practice, And he said, like, the offense did perform better. The offense performed better because they were down 21 points. They had to throw out a lot of them suck-ass plays that they like to run, those old scary conservative plays. They had to really go in there and get it. It's a different Saint offense when it's 0-0. I'm telling you, when you're down 21-0, that's desperation you seen yesterday set in. That was desperation. They were desperate to do something because they wasn't supposed to be down 21-0 anyway. When I was talking, I was like, man, they wasn't supposed to be down 21-0 in their own building in the first quarter. That wasn't even supposed to happen. But it happened, and all of the stuff that they wanted to do with Pete Carmichael, a lot of his little scripted stuff, he had to throw it out of there, and they had to get desperate. So they had to start throwing a whole bunch of stuff together that Detroit wasn't ready for, and they were able to get out there and they could make some stuff shake. They didn't complete it, but that's what happened. They were desperate, and you can see it, that the offense was desperate, and they had to do everything. So they were forced to put Jimmy Graham in there for one play or whatever it was, and they threw to him one time. So, I mean, they were forced to do this. And that's when the change happens, when they're forced to, because they won't do it on their own. They got to be forced to it. That's when it all changed. So, like I said, in the end, I just don't see a lot of this with the 5 games remaining, maybe 1 or 2 wins. I'm saying perhaps, I know maybe the Carolina game, probably a Tampa Bay game, perhaps. I don't see them winning the Rams. I don't see them beating Atlanta. In Atlanta, we got to hope that they lose games. And like I said, currently, let me pull up the NFC South standings, fam. Give me a second. Let me pull those up. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday, Tampa Bay beat Carolina. And I think let me see what I think, if I'm not mistaken, that pushed the Saints down to 3rd place. Yes, they are. Let me put it on the screen right here. Here it is right here. Yeah, with Tampa Bay winning yesterday. Atlanta's on a 2-game winning streak. They beat the Saints, then they beat the Jets. They're 6-6. The Saints are tied with Tampa Bay, which they're now in 3rd place because Tampa Bay owns the tiebreaker. We lost to them early in the year. So we got Carolina, who's the seller team. And Carolina is the worst team in the NFL. They are the worst team in the NFL. They got 1 win, and I think only they got the other team that is Arizona. So they got 1 win, and the Saints have them. So this is really ridiculous, and it's like a 1-game approach. Now, ultimately, I do think I ain't putting no money on them or no bets on them, but Carolina, they should be able to beat Carolina because Carolina is not that good. Carolina is really a bad team. They're really a bad team. But when they come down, they have to play the Rams. They got the Bucks again and the Falcons again. Then they got the Giants who are right behind them, who are not very good either. But usually when you got a Saint team, they love to shoot themselves in the foot. That's what they love to do, and it's unfortunate. So I don't know, man. I could see 2 victories, 2 wins and I say that because I don't trust their process and how they're gonna fix things. I really don't. I don't trust their process. I really don't. I don't trust the process. I don't trust Dennis Allen. Um, I think he's in trouble. And he's been in trouble for a long time. And Mickey Loomis trying to keep that fire hydrant on to keep that seat from being too hot. But, his time is coming to an end with the Saints, man. And we passed up on several coaches, and Mickey Loomis doesn't really want to make the change. And it's all right, because sooner or later he's gonna get changed out there too. I wouldn't be surprised if Mickey Loomis ends up retiring and turning that job over to Kai Harley, or they advance Loomis further into the organization, create another seat for him or something, and give Kai Harley the general manager position and let him be the guy over the team, because that was supposed to happen at least 2 years ago. In my estimation, I was calling for Kai Harley to take over the team. When Sean Payton left, Kai Harley should have took over the team then. When Sean Payton left, Mickey Loomis should have stepped down and turned the job open to Kai Harley and let him pick his own head coach, and him and the head coach work together to get a quarterback. That's what should have happened. That's what should have happened. But Mickey Loomis loves collecting all those checks so he can buy all that clam chowder and that orange juice, and he sit up there and made Dennis Allen the bet. And that's, people make mistakes, and I'm not getting on him for that. But what I'm getting on him for is the fact that he refuses to make changes or force Dennis Allen to make changes to his offense. That is the problem. That's the problem. He's still pretending like Dennis Allen's the answer, even though you had a opportunity to see now almost 2 years of Dennis Allen's administration, and you still pretending like he was who you thought he was when he started the year, which is a guy that can take it to the playoffs, which he has not shown you that. You can't keep him around. The Saints are going to continue to bottom out. And let me tell you something, Gail's about to get involved too, because when she started checking them balance books and she see them people not showing up and they selling their tickets to the adversaries in the dome because they're not, and then they see fire Dennis Allen all over the place on social media, and she's out there. She hears all of that. And sooner or later, she's going to step in there, just like she stepped in the Anthony Davis situation when Anthony Davis walked out of the stadium. And she walked in there and fired Dale Demps and changed all that stuff around. So like I said, it's coming. You can't play with the money, fam. You can't play them when you upset people and you do all this stuff. You talking about ignoring them. You can't play with the money of the team. Ain't nobody in that building more important than them making money. They'll get rid of whoever it is to make that money. Let me tell you something. That's how it go. So anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm gonna get ready to get on that. Listen, I'm gonna pop back up here tomorrow on the Patreon. So if you want to be involved, man, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. Patreon.com/the THE Pro Media Network. And we'll be on there talking about it. We'll, and of course, YouTube membership channels, we get the show, and then Patreon is the film work that we usually do there as well. So we'll be looking at the film for this game yesterday against the Detroit Lions. We'll be breaking down Derek Carr's looks and what's going on with him, and of course how Jameis looked, how the running game looked, the offensive line looked. We'll cover it all on that episode. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out on that. I appreciate y'all so kindly for staying up. Nah, it's a little late, my friend, but I appreciate y'all being here. But yeah, man, we'll pick back up here on Tuesday, family, and we'll go back over it. We'll cover all the latest news, notes, and items. Sometime I want to say this week we'll be doing an NFC South roundtable. A lot of the family members are not motivated to do the NFC South roundtable, especially our brothers at the PNP camp. Obvious reasons, man. It's been a rough year for the PNP camp, and rough year for us, man. Really, and a lot of people not motivated to do the South. But listen, man, you can't be like that. If we do the roundtables, win, lose, or draw. If we looking good or bad, we do the roundtables regardless, man. We gotta represent. So that'll be coming up real soon, man. And there's some other stuff we working on down the line. So with that being said, I'm gonna get on that. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep your heads up, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the Patreon tomorrow for the family members. Y'all check the links in the descriptions below for merch and other things. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the flip side. Much love, and who that to you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Fucking like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That Too.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sports